have you learned? Programmed to beat you. What have you learned? It was programmed to beat you. to beat you. have you learned? I was programmed to beat you. Same mistakes. I was programmed to beat you. Humans, what have you learned? I was programmed to beat you. Humans, what have you learned? I was programmed to beat you.
Sundays, but here we are. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 red lights. Hello, and welcome back to FRLT Tier 4's Championship here tonight on a Sunday. Sadly, this week we have only got one lobby this week. Of course, you guys would have usually been waiting for the 7 PM lobby. We wouldn't have had a stream for it anyway, but sadly that was ultimately cancelled, and we just have our 8 PM lobby. Ultimately, I hope everybody's having a great weekend. Of course, we saw the Belgian Grand Prix earlier where George Russell did cross the line to win, yet he was disqualified, and so Lewis Hamilton won earlier. Ultimately, as you can see in the top left, there's a new little thing called Rogue Energy. We have proudly been sponsored by Rogue Energy here tonight and for the rest of the season, so thank you very much to them. Make sure there's a link down below with a code. Make sure to put in FRLTF1 to get, I believe it's 10% off, so make sure to go and do that. We come to ultimately Netherlands this week. I know we did China last week, but that came in as round 3. This is now round 4, and then we'll be having our break week. Then we won't be having a break week for a little while now. Ultimately, the Constructors' Championship, TIR continues to stay on top of the championship by just 12 points ahead of ARO, gaining quite a few more points once again. In China, they got a nice little bit of gain over them. So did IFE, moving up to 6th in the Constructors as well. Here's a track map of the Netherlands of Zandvoort, 4.259 kilometers, 2.646 miles, 14 turns, 2 DRS zones down the pit straight and down the back straight. The only 2 places on the whole track where there are ultimately that. Ultimately, we're now coming to the track, and here we are. A few drivers already coming out on track. T-Bus already. As you can see, we're finally running the official F1 24 cars, which is incredibly nice to have. It's very nice to be having the F1 24 cars officially, as they're now all equal, so I'm incredibly happy to have that. I'm very excited. I'm very happy for this here tonight. So I guess we'll have to see what happens now. It will be the man of T-Bus who will be doing the first lap of tonight. So make sure to stick around for that. So let's ride on board with ultimately the POR driver. He almost spins it out of the final corner there. Getting a little bit too close for comfort. Now coming round the final corner. He now heads with the DRS, the rear wing open as he heads down to cross the line and starts off his lap as he heads towards Turn 1. He's going to throw the car into Turn 1, going about 3rd or 4th gear. About 3rd gear usually you go for. Not too bad. Up now into Turn 3 here. Throws the car through Turn 3. He's going to hit Turn 4 and 5 as he goes through Turn 4. And now he's going to hit Turn 5. And finally, and lastly, to end of Sector 1, Turn 6. So he heads up the hill into Turn 7. Flat out on this year's game, by the way. Pretty impressive to see that on F1 24. Zach has ultimately retired from the session. I think he's had a crash in the first sector. Yes, he has. Flame has retired from the session as well. He's also had a crash. So both of them already crashing out. Already two drivers crashing out in this session. I can't believe my eyes already this early. And a big mistake from T-Bus into the round hairpin. And a big mistake. He's sliding all over the place. This isn't going to be a good lap time to start off POR's day here today. It's not going to be a good one at all. It's actually going to be a pretty horrific start to the night. And crossing line, he goes P1. We've just seen another driver retire. Oh, what is going on? Why are people retiring? Ultimately, the settings have come up wrong. The settings have come out wrong. Oh my god, I hate this game so much. I hate this game so much. It's ridiculous. It's a joke. Yep, the setting's wrong. I don't know if that's my bad. I don't know. I clicked on it to be on. Yeah, my apologies. This is just a complete screw up. I'm so sick of this game. Ugh. Another problem here tonight. Oh, everything's just falling apart. Sorry about my sides. I'm just so frustrated with this game. It's so bad. We got 3 people waiting to retire. Great start. And we got 2 morons going round in circles who aren't retiring. Everybody else has. Please retire. Please retire. Holy. How these people don't get the idea, just retire. Ultimately, I will be back in a few minutes. We've got 2 drivers just retire. Holy. How don't people look at their phones or look at anything to say just retire? Holy. It's just one guy. It's just one guy. Please retire, please. I really wish I could boot him from this, actually. I wish there was just one option. Um, ultimately, uh, we're gonna have to make a new lobby. My apologies, everybody, for this absolute misery of a restart. Please, if anybody can, just take out just take out Rusted Bolt, please, so we don't spend 5 minutes driving around because we're having a lobby restart. Yeah, once again, my apologies for this absolute horrendous start to the night. Horrendous start to the night. But we should be getting going. We might as well watch the carnage that we're going to see in the next few seconds. Yeah. Ultimately, some people don't leave. Don't leave. I find it so difficult. People don't seem to fully grasp the concepts of this. How have some people retired? Even getting going. Okay, just hit into walls. Do what's needed. Holy. Holy. No. Retire from the race. There's gonna be some people who clearly don't want to. Okay, there we go. It's done. We are restarting. Holy. How this is so stupendously difficult to restart is nuts. I will never understand this. It's actually our first lobby restart, by the way, of the season. So I will take this as the one and only that we're going to have this season. So but yeah, we're going to be going again very shortly. We just need to wait for the people who left. Because my words were not leave. They were just retire. Retire, not leave. very difficult words for people to understand nowadays. Very difficult for some reason. But some people will need invites. Oh my god, I'm seeing people go, invite this person. It's mental. This is just mental. How people don't understand leave and restart as two separate. We have 12. Holy. How are you so? Jesus Christ. Some people. Honestly. Some people blast past my mind sometimes. It's like a mind-numbing horror. But we move with it. We get on with it. We'll have to see what happens. We've got 13 in now, so at least we're coming down. At least people are getting in quickly now. That is one good thing. So we won't be too long. We definitely won't be too long. Not at all. Just getting everybody back in. We're almost already back to where we were. And let me change that setting. Yeah, that was my bad. Then. I changed it. Didn't change. Lovely little game we have. 17. Okay, everybody's back in once again. Let me just double check the settings just to make sure. We can ready up now. So we are finally getting going now. After this long start, shall we say, we've had, we're finally going to get going for qualifying. It's taken us a little while to get there. We're 20 minutes late. Not going to kill anyone too much being sort of like 22, 23 minutes late. Just means we're going to finish. Luckily, the 36 laps aren't too long. They're only about a minute and 10 seconds. So, if you have that on average, I mean, that's about 36. Yeah, about 45 minutes altogether, so it isn't too long. So, we are finally back into the time of qualifying once again. We're going to see the start of it. My apologies for this incredibly slow and painful start to the night, shall we say. But we are finally here to get qualifying underway. 18-minute qualifying followed by 50% race, which is 36 laps. Second time this week I'm doing the Netherlands again. So we're slowly loading in. We should be in any second. It's now. We are getting going for qualifying, finally. 18 drivers are in. 18 drivers all ready to go. We're missing 2 drivers tonight, but it's fine. Once again, we've got a Sauber on its way out, and it is T-Bus. It's T-Bus once again. He's the first man out for POR. second time here tonight. So, I'm going to watch T-Bus on his outlap at the moment. The lobby is all working. It should all be fine. Once again, we're going around. We're watching T-Bus on his outlap. There's now 5 cars which have made their way onto track, and there's a 6th making his way onto track as well. That's going to be the driver of Harv, who's making his way out onto the track currently. Let's see what's going to happen here tonight and here now. T-Bus will be the man to come round. He's broken his front wing. Holy. Can't even get a driver going round an outlap anymore. But he is going to be going for lap anyway, so let's ride on board with him. Heading down towards turn 1. The extra straight line speed, of course, with a bit of his front wing broken. Into turn 1 he goes. Turning not too bad for the car. Nicely washing out. There's a yellow flag. There's somebody who's had a spin. That's a McLaren. I think that was Happy. Had a spin there. Ultimately, as you can see, T-Bus negotiating the first 3 corners. Now up through 5. Up through the hill into turn 6. Now he heads towards the almost flat out corner of turn 7. He kicks the car right through with some ease. Now into turn 8. The double right hand of then hitting turn 9 before he finally hits the corner of turn 10. A long left-hander here around the Netherlands. A couple of long corners through the middle sector. Now opening the DRS, heading down this straight into turn 11 and 12. He's going to hit very quickly 11, now 12, the round hairpin of 12. Quite difficult to negotiate sometimes. Now into the penultimate corner of turn 13, finally followed by the final last banked corner of turn 14, heading up to the line. What is the man of T-Bus going to do? A 1 minute 10.1 is the time to beat off the start of qualifying here. That is the time to beat now. That is very much the time to beat here in qualifying. We've got Flame who's coming up to the line next. Can he beat that? Yes, he can. He can beat that by near on 9/10 of a second to go to a 1 minute 9.223. Finding even more time in the car. I think we've got an Alpine. That's Vengiuk. He's on his way round. He's coming around and he goes P2. 1 minute 9.675 is the time he sets. Not bad from him. We got, who else do we have? We got midfield Maestro's coming round. We got, that's one Aston Martin. We need the other Aston Martin of Nabali, who's on intermediate tyres. And again, I've made this clear, well, I think. But coming round to 1 minute 14.4 is what he sets on those tyres in the end. Who's going to cross the line next? I think it's going to be, I'm not sure who it's going to be. It's going to be unofficial. He crosses the line next. He ultimately goes P3. 1 minute 9.9 is third place now. J7BP just going slightly slower. Philip Venera also going slightly slower. Half slowest of all at the moment. 1 minute 22 is what he set, but I don't think he was pushing on his lap. Who else do we have? Who's on a lap? Midfield Maestro's on a lap. Tondis on a lap. Who else is coming up to the line? That was Kieran Derry. He's just crossed the line to start off his lap. He's gone a bit too deep into turn 1. Didn't make that work. We could see Happy Meal going around. Who do we have coming up to the line next? I think it is going to be the man. Yes, it is. Maestro. Maestro's going to be the next man up the line. Let's see what he can do to start off. And it's only a 1 minute 10.3. It's not what his team will be looking for. It's not what specifically really TIR needs here tonight. They're taking the RB and the Williams, by the way. They are taking the RB and the Williams for tonight's race. And probably for the future as well. We just saw Harv. He's gone up into P4 ahead of Tondis. Pretty nice, but Flame still very much the man on his own out there. Still very much the man on his own. Definitely the man who's on his own at the moment. Next drive to cross the line is going to be Kieran Derry. Once again for the team of TIR. A couple of TIR drivers coming across the line. Let's see what he can do. Is he going to do any better? It's P10 and pretty much last out there, as that's not a good lap time to be putting in. Happy Meal just went P10 now, just pushing him down a position, not rubbing it in very slightly. Zach is just starting off his lap. There's some yellow flags going on. There's Anton who's coming around. Let's see what he can do for POR. Coming up to the line. Anton crosses the line. He goes P2. Just a tenth and a half. Just over a tenth and a half. Sorry. Off the provisional pole. But he's a lot closer than what Venjok was. And that's a pretty decent lap time he needed there. We've got Unofficial who isn't on a flying lap. I think the next driver to cross the line is Rusted Bolt. Yes, he is. Let's see what Rusted Bolt can do as he makes his way round. He's got some pace behind him. He's been showing it all session long. Let's see what he can do in these slow down. Yay, he slowed down. A little bit disappointing there, but we've got Zach who's also on a lap. He's coming round with some speed, and there's an Aston Martin who's gone slowly, or Aston Martin that's spun. It is an Aston Martin. The Aston Martin gets out of the way, though, of Zach coming up to the line. He goes fastest of all, 1 minute 8.9. He finds another 3 tenths. 3 tenths over Flame. And he's finding time in that Alpine, and that's exactly what he'll be wanting here tonight. J7BP is on another outlap. T-Bus has just started his lap. Nabali's just starting his lap. Rusted Bolt is on another lap, though. Rusted Bolt is pushing. Let's see. Let's ride on board with Rusted Bolt at the moment as he heads round. The long left-hander. Ferrari clearly getting out of the way there quite nicely. Heading down towards the end of the middle sector. 4.1 seconds up. It's only going to be a 1 minute 16, though, at the moment. Ooh, bit bouncy over the curbing there. Now, heading down towards the penultimate corner before he finally hits the banking of the final corner. He runs really wide there, all the way onto the gravel and the grass. That's really, really far over, to be honest. And it's going to just be 14th for him, and behind his teammates in P14. Zinnik ultimately is starting his lap. That means we will have every driver have a lap time, hopefully by the end of the session. Tesco is also on his way out. George Plaster hasn't made his way out yet. J7BP has started his lap, though. Let's see what this man can do. He's really been the standout driver for TIR this season. He's finding 2 tenths in the first sector alone. That's going to move him up to P5. So a pretty close mid-pack here at the moment. Heading round into the next few corners. Can he get that double right-hander done? Yes, he does very nicely in the RB. Of course, heading round to the next few corners. Again, incredibly nice from him. Very nice cornering. That's exactly what you want to be seeing. Now heading down. 3 tenths up on his lap now. 3 tenths up. That is going to send him, currently, that will send him still P5. So he's not in improved position, but he is still finding more and more time. Heading round the penultimate corner, now through the last corner, opening the DRS, opening that rear wing. All the way he goes. Cynic goes fastest, 1 minute 8.8. Can there be an improvement? J7VP does, and he just jumps there by 200ths of a second ahead of Vengiok. And that's only a small improvement needed. That's all he needed, though. And ultimately, that is something, at least for him at the moment. Philip Venera is also finding time. He's going to go P7, just behind the two in front of him. Ultimately, quite a bit of time to find. But still, a decent run and a decent lap that he needed there. Rusted Bolt is going again. George Plus has just started his lap. Who do we have actually on a lap at the moment that's coming up to the line? Not many people actually on flying laps. I don't see many people on flying laps. A lot of people have just started their laps. Who's the furthest along? It is an Alpine. It's an Alpine. That's Vendriok. Ferrari behind. That's Cynic. Who once again isn't close enough. I think it's going to be. It is Rusted Bolt. Rusted Bolt up 2 tenths of a second at the moment. Only 2 tenths of a second, near on quarter of a second up. Not a huge amount of time, not enough time to gain a position. But let's see what he can find in this final sector. Maybe that's what he was missing after all, was time in that final sector. It was 6/10, but still no improvement in position and still down in his position at the moment. The next driver to be crossing the line is the RB duo, giving a little bit of a slipstream there, bit of cheeky slipstream when they're not meant to be giving a bit of a cheeky slipstream. As there goes George Placer, P3 he goes, and that's exactly what he needs here tonight. Any improvements coming across the line? I think we've got a Mercedes on a lap. That's Tondis. He's coming into the pits though. He doesn't think there's any time in the lap. Happy Meal up to the line. It's finding time. He goes P12, and that's an improvement in position. T-Bus is coming up to the line next. Then we have an Alpine, and that's the Alpine of Vengiok. He's up a 10.5 at the moment on his lap. Let's see what he can do. He looks like he was going to go into the pits, but he doesn't. He's ultimately slow at the end of his lap, so not an improvement there from him. Tesco's coming up to the line next. He's just starting off his lap. Rusted Bolt is on a slow lap at the moment. It's Midfield Maestro, only up a 10.5 at the moment, which will currently see him go up into P13, but he needs to find at least half a second to really get him in contention in that midfield, or especially for the lower points positions. Here he goes, heading round the final corner, now heading up to the line. Here comes Midfield Maestro, up to the line, he finds 3.5 tenths, he goes P11, just missing out on P10, and a top 10 chance there for him. Napoli picks up P6, he finds a lot of time on his lap. Generally, that is a huge amount of time. Anton, only up 700 in the middle sector. He's going to go up a 10.5, but it's still only P5 at the moment for him. No improvement. Now, Flame finds some time. He goes up to P... He's actually just starting lap, sorry. My bad. T-Bus just went P10, an improvement there from him. Now we look further back. Harv, invalidated on his lap. Happy Meals coming up to the line next. He's going very slow on his lap. He's going too slow. Tess goes up to the line next. He hasn't put in a lap yet. Only driver yet to, but he does go P7. And that's not a bad lap time to get his qualifying underway. And I think that is everyone at the moment. Harv is on another lap. Yes, he's up 700ths in the first sector. Who else is pushing out there? Big question. Who else is pushing? I don't think anybody is. It is Flame. Flame's the next driver to be pushing up 0.2 of a second in the middle sector. He's finding quite a bit more time in his lap. Let's see as he heads round the penultimate corner into now the final corner. Flat out through the banked final corner. Quite an interesting track we have here at Zandvoort with all of the banked corners here. Now, heading up to the line he goes. He finds them on 3/10. He's on the front row with his teammates. It's Ferrari 1-2, XPG 1-2, and at the moment, the only two drivers in the 1 minute 8.8. And that's exactly what he was looking for. Harv just found a little bit more time. He's gone P11. Pretty decent there from him. Now we look further back. I think it's Tesco who's trying to push on a lap. We'll have to see. It was Happy Meal who was on a lap. My bad. He found 0.6 per second. He's now gone up into P6. These changes in the grid are wild. Absolutely wild at the moment. Absolutely wild. No words for what is happening in this session at the moment. How close each and every driver is. It was crazy. We got Zach who's on another lap. Have we got a Williams? It is Rusted Bolt. He'll be the next driver to cross the line on a lap. Yes, the next driver. But generally, XPG coming out favourites in this 18-driver lobby. TIR certainly not coming out as that. P9, P15, P17 and P18 is where they currently sit. Let's ride on board with Rusted Bolt on his final run in qualifying with only 3 minutes to go left in this qualifying session. Into turn 1 he goes. He's going for a bit more of a tighter line. Not really aiming for sort of mid-corner speed nor exit. And now heading through into the next turn 2. Now into turn 3. Not going a bit conservative on his run at the moment. It doesn't seem like he's pushing massively. He's gone quite conservative now. Heading up through turn 6. Ending off sector 1. He's found 0.2 of a second. So he is finding quite a bit more time. This time will only put him to about his teammate's pace in P17. Still not beating his teammate at the moment. But maybe it's these bits of time that he needs to find as he goes a little bit wide onto the grass, just very slightly wide. Happy Meal is done with his qualifying session. He says enough is enough. And that is that. Unofficial will win this race. Maybe, maybe not. We'll have to see. 3/10 up now. Is Rusted Bolt still only going to be good enough to beat his teammate in 17th? So TIR really looking at a miserable day here in the Netherlands. And again, it's an invalidation around the final corner. And that is ultimately Rusted Bolt's day all finished and done now. And that is some disappointment for him to add on to already a long day of disappointment that he's had. We got Zach, who's coming up to the line next. His Sector 1 was 800ths up. Sector 2, he's a 10th down in Sector 2. He might have made a mistake there. He might be trying to go for another lap. No, he's not. Now he is. He's broken his front wing. He's broken his front wing. And that is that now in his session. All finished and done there. Next drive to cross the line is going to be Tondis. He's up 2/10, near on 2/10 in the first sector. He needs to find that sort of time in the second sector. If he can find another 2/10 in the middle sector, that's exactly what we're wanting. Zach is now retired from the session. He's found 3.5 of a second. This could be sending him up very high. It could be sending him possibly up into P11, maybe P10 if he can get up there. And he goes wide on the penultimate corner again. That corner catching people out. And that is Tondis' qualifying pretty much over now. And he would have found 3/10 and he would have found himself up into P12 in all of that, by the way. P11. He would have found himself up into there. And there's a few drivers crossing the line next. We've got a Ferrari who's crossing the line. That was Flame, who's just starting his lap. Kieran Derry just improved on his lap, by the way. I think he just did, or he's just starting his lap. Either way, he just improved. J7BP's round. He's round. Unofficial goes up to P11. A Mercedes is in the pit lane. He's done on his lap. He's not happy with what he's gotten. Ultimately, Nabali doesn't improve on his lap either. George Plaster improves by just 300ths. That's his qualifying done. Harv didn't get to cross the line. Tesco goes P5. Improvement from Tesco. Anton's improving. Now T-Bus goes P7. We look to the RB of J7BP who had that spin. And now he's going to stay in P10 at the moment. And now we look to the head of the qualifying. It's... and across the line, he doesn't improve. But I think he knows he's done enough in this session to get what he needs. Anton goes up to P5. Now we look, retirement from a few other drivers. Flame doesn't improve. He doesn't find the time needed. The Williams up to the line. Rusted Bolt goes P17. Now his teammate jumps back in front of him for P17 once again. Ultimately, who else is on a lap? Nabali, not on a lap. Unofficial, not on a lap. And Midfield Maestro, not on a lap. Everybody is now done in qualifying. And that is your man, Zanik, on pole position. Whew. Zanik on pole position for XPG with an XPG 1-2 in this session, by the way. XPG 1-2. Going for back-to-back at the moment. Going back-to-back. Absolute crazy moments we're seeing here. XPG really getting the best out of their qualifying. They got pole in China. They're getting pole again here. And this time it's even better. It is even better here for XPG. This season really turning around to be XPG in XPG's favour at the moment. Zanik, at the moment, we're just waiting on one drive, and that's Midfield Maestro to retire, and that is that. Qualifying is now over 18 minutes of qualifying. Our man Zanik on pole position for XPG with Flame in P2. Ferrari Duo on the front row. But let's go through the qualifying order. Zanik is on pole position, followed by his teammate Flame. Zach is in third with George Plaster 4th, Anton 5th, Tesco 6th, T-Bus 7th, Happy Meal in 8th, Nably 9th, and J7BP rounding out the top 10. Vangiok in 11th, Unofficial 12th, Philip Venera in 13th, Harv in 14th, with Midfield Maestro in 15th, Tondis 16th, Kieran Derry 17th, and Rusted Bolt in 18th and last, but not a good day for TIR. Really not a good day for TIR. Generally tough day for TIR. Okay. After me, we're going to be getting going in about 2 minutes' time. Get ready at 1:45, 9 o'clock for me, but wherever you are in the world, it's 1:45, whatever time it is. Ultimately, we're going to be getting going very shortly. I hope everybody's been having a great day. Hope you've been enjoying the stream. Please think about subscribing and leaving a like. It means so much to me and everybody here at FRLT for all the hard work we really do put in. We're going to get racing very, very shortly. In the next few moments, we're going to get racing, and I'm excited to see. And we are going now. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 red lights. And away we go here in Netherlands for the Force Championship. It's a great getaway from Zanik. That's exactly what he needed to get away from the grid. Exactly the start he needed. Now heading down through turn 1. God, a couple of 3 wide moments. Oh, and there's a McLaren off in the wall. That's Happy Meal. He's having an absolute awful start here. But the Ferraris lead 1-2 at the moment. XPG lead away here. Zach staying in third, holding on to his position. Tesco is fighting with Vengiok. Now heading up through into turn 6. Now into turn 7. They don't go side by side anymore as Vengiok ultimately backs out of that. J7BP fighting with Half over P12. And ultimately Half still fighting there. Aston Martin versus RB. We've seen this a few times this year in real life. Now as they make their way around. Oh, J7BP getting all out of sorts. Now, ultimately, down in P14. It's P14, 15, 16, and 17 for TIR at the moment. They could be on. They are on for their worst result of the season and currently on for 0 points in this race. We return our eyes now to the front. Anton putting pressure down on the man of Zach at the moment. Anything and everything is happening. Now heading round towards the next few corners as Zanik continues to lead down the pit straight. A good start from XPG, holding on to their 1-2 at the moment. Strong, 44 points. Could be coming XPG's way just off of these 2 positions at the moment. Remember, these are just the 2 positions at the moment. Philip Venera making the move now up into P10. He goes, and that's a good P10 and 1 point scored so far for these guys here tonight. Another point scored for XPG as they going to be scoring that extra point. Nabali also making the move now on T-Bus. T-Bus coming back at him with a big dive bomb. They go off and off into the wall they go. T-Bus is out. He's out of the session and there's the safety car. What was that from T-Bus? What was that? Holy T-Bus. My God. What happened there? That dive bomb out of nowhere. Absolute dive bomb out of nowhere from T-Bus. No words at all for that move. No words at all for what's just happened. Nabali now trailing in P15. SCT were on for a big points haul. Now they're on for looking like potentially maybe just a few points at the end of the day. Ultimately, you can see the change in front wing for Nabali. A couple of drivers in the pits, a couple of drivers changing to soft tyres, bit of changing all round for the tyres. I can see that T-Bus not very happy with the incident that's just happened. Not very happy with what happened. Of course, nobody's going to be happy with it because Nabali now down 16th. The highest scoring driver for SCT in their campaign here in Falls. Now, outside of the points, once again, SCT. Currently been a bit of a weak point this season for the team of SCT in their Force Championship and also their also Tier 2. They've had a bit of a tough season so far in both championships. They're hoping, of course, they get some better performances. Still interesting to see that at least 11 drivers on the grid are still all together, all the point scorers all together. As we roll onto lap 3, I think we're only going to get racing when we go onto lap 4 here. I do think that's when we're going to get racing, is on lap 4 of, not lap 4, sorry, is when we go on to lap 5 of this race. Disappointing to, of course, be stuck behind the safety car for this race. Very disappointing to be stuck behind the safety car. But yes. And you can see, Flame trying to get somebody else to follow him, maybe into the pits, try and do the dummy into the pits, but it's not working. But for XPG, this is kind of what they were wanting last. This is kind of what they were wanting last race. You know, they were wanting this to, you know, they were wanting this so much last race, more than they wanted it this race, because realistically, for XPG, you know, they're going round and, you know, they're thinking last race, you know, they didn't get a safety car. You know, they didn't get the safety car around China, and in many ways, that very much did cost XPG. In many ways, I would say, in my opinion, definitely, XPG almost lost out on the victory, because almost lost out on a win entirely, because of that, because there wasn't a safety car. But this race, it's turning the, you know, last race they needed it when the pit stops came around. They needed it sort of later on in the race. I think later on the race would have helped the XPG drivers now, because at the moment, you know, I don't think the safety car is exactly helping them, because they are on the mediums, which is meaning they can go later into the race. But the whole thing for these guys is that they're sitting there and just thinking, well, you know, we've got our chances. You know, we've got our chance to get away here, but it's, you know, it's a 1-2. It's 44 points on the table at the moment. You know, a massive points haul for them in this race, which could send them up into possibly 4th in the constructors. But they're hoping for a few more points for some of their drivers further back. Tondis, P10 at the moment, only on for 45 points. But ultimately, Zanik getting away. Is he going? Yes, he is. He's actually gotten quite a slow getaway. Flame under attack as well. Down the inside goes the man of Zach. He's tried to make the move on Flame. It's not going to work. Side by side, further back with a few drivers. Everything's still on the line for a lot of these drivers. They're still all battling out. Tonda's making a few moves. There's a couple of yellow flags. Lots of racing. I know it says the safety car's still out, but it isn't. I promise you it isn't. Tesco now making his way up into P6 ahead of George Plaster, and it's a virtual safety car. It's a virtual safety car now, because of, I think, an incident that's happened somewhere further back in the grid. Yep, it's with Happy Meal, and it's another safety car. It's another safety car. It's another safety car. Quite odd. Very odd to see. Very odd to see this. Very odd to see the safety car. But to be honest, there was an incident. There was a massive front wing. So not too unrealistic. Not too unrealistic, to be honest. But for these guys, they're going to be okay. Because, you see, for Flame and for Zanik, this is perfect for them. They're getting to stay in the lead for even longer in this race. You know, only 30 laps remaining of this race at the moment. Hopefully nobody crashes off the start. I think there was also somebody who got a bit of front wing damage as well further back, because it wouldn't have just been a broken front wing. But you could see these guys making their way round at the very nice slow speed on lap 6. Only 30 laps remain of this race. Still a long 30 laps to go. But at 30 laps, people were like, I don't know why it said virtual safety car when it's clearly not a virtual safety car. This game is just so broken to every degree. Ultimately, Yes, we are going round at a slow and quite low speed at the moment. Is the safety car coming in this lap? No, it isn't coming in. We're still waiting on one driver, which means we're going to be going for another lap behind the safety car here. One more lap behind the safety car. And we're only going to get racing on to lap 8 now. We're going to be going on to lap 7 and very shortly lap 8. Is anybody coming into the pits? Nobody's coming into the pits. They're still not feeling like they want to come into the pits just yet. Nope, somebody is. Midfield Maestro's coming into the pits though. He feels like it's time to come in. J7BP gets a severe collision. That's a 10-second penalty for him. He's ultimately, you can see, Midfield Maestro putting on the hard tyres. He's wanting to gamble it now. He's wanting to do a bit of a gamble on these tyres. Of course, it's up to him to gamble his chances on those hard tyres. And I think he's going to be wanting to go till the end of the race. But 30 laps. 30 laps is a long, long way to go on some hard tyres. Even if we get one more safety car during this race, 30 laps is still incredibly long to go on hard tyres. Even now, it's incredibly hard to go that long on tyres, to be honest. It's still so incredibly difficult to do that. But he's already caught up to the back of the grid. We're going to be going round. Zanik still leading this race, still the only driver to have led this race. Ultimately, Zanik getting up his number of laps here. Safety car is now coming in this lap. It's told a little bit earlier, allowing Zanik to back everybody up. Hopefully no collisions will now take place. Quite interesting. We had the safety car on standard, on the setting of standard last week. Around China, and there wasn't a single safety car in lobby 2. But here tonight in our lobby, we've already had 2 safety cars in just the space of 7 laps. But ultimately, Zanik gets going once again. He's gotten away. He's gotten a nice start. So is Flame. Better than last time. Much better start than last time. Now heading down into the braking zone, heading round turn 1. So far, everybody getting through pretty cleanly. Nobody really getting in the way of each other too badly. There's a bit of a move further back. Tesco's making his way around. There's a Mercedes of Tondis which is popping around the place, which just popped up into P7 very randomly. Not sure how that took place. Everybody clean though. So it definitely isn't any safety car glitch. It is purely people racing each other that's causing it. Napoli, he's now getting overtaken by the man of Happy Meal. And there goes Happy Meal up into 14th, ahead of Napoli now, chasing after his chances at points still. We started with 18 drivers. We've only got 17 left. But we've currently made our way already 8 laps into this race with 2 safety cars. J7BP makes his way up into P9 now, ahead of Unofficial. But here comes ultimately Harv as well. He's trying to make the move, but he keeps out of it. He knows when to make a move. You can see Happy Meal now making the move on the man of Rusted Bolt. He's up to 13th now. 2 moves this lap, by the way. Sorry, 3 moves this lap so far from Happy Meal. He's making a lot of moves that are needed. By the way, I know it says safety car on the top left. Don't mind that. It isn't actually. Heading down into turn 1 they go. Zach trying to go round the outside of Flame. He's getting boxed in by the Ferraris. Who's going to give in? Who isn't? And still racing into turn 3 they go. They're still racing. Still almost 3 wide as we head down the second straight. Now heading up through turn 5. Now up through turn 6. Flame holds on to it as they reach turn 7 on lap 9. No moves happening through the grid just yet. But this battle over P2 and the podium is still very much on. A lot of drivers incredibly close to each other so fast. There's still a lot of time to go. There's still a lot of things that could happen. And now heading round onto the next straight. DRS already enabled. Here they come after Flame. Especially Zach. He wants to make that move soon in the Alpine. You can just see he's all over the back of the Ferrari man, of the XPG man. Can he make the move? Heading down into the next corner. He goes. Does it work? No. Now into the final corner. He's got to get the exit right. He does actually get the exit better than Flame, but is it the exit that he needed? Is it enough? No, it isn't. It isn't enough for him at the moment. Is Flame going to try and send it on his teammate? No, they're keeping working together as teammates. They're not wanting to do anything stupid too early on in this race. They don't want any incidents. Happy Meal eyeing up the man of Kieran Derry at the moment. As you can see, that McLaren, ooh, getting incredibly close to the back of the Williams in turn 3. You can see Happy Meal really wanting to make that move. He's really wanted to get P12 now. As Kieran Derry currently 9/10 off of the back of the pack and Alpha P11 at the moment. So you can see really a couple of his drivers struggling. Nably, Rusted Bolt, and Midfield Maestro all struggling to keep up with the rest of the grid. So really, for these guys, it's not going too badly. As you can see, Nabli's now gone off. He's down to P16 again. The day has gone from bad to worse for the Aston Martin driver. Now, as we make our way and we look at the front, a gap growing half a second now between first and second. I think that's pretty much the biggest the gap has been so far in this race. Now, sitting in that half a second mark. Oh, and there's a McLaren off. That's Happy Meal. Happy Meal's off. Happy Meal causing a yellow flag. He's got wing damage. He's got rather heavy wing damage as well. And I suspect that could be Happy Meal's day all done and dusted. And I think he's going to come into the pits and he might retire from this race. I think we might be getting 2 retirements from this race at the same time as you can see Happy Meal hits into the back. I think we're going to be getting 2 retirements very shortly, or at least 1 retirement, or they're going to try and keep going in this race. Still looking at Flame, you can just see the pace of that Ferrari going round. He's really doing well. He's really doing good at the moment. Ultimately, give me a second. I've just got to quickly go grab something. I do apologise. Somebody's at my door. My apologies, everybody. My apologies, but you can see Flame still reluctant to make a move. But George Plaster is trying to make a move. He's getting a half spin. He might actually drop down a place here. He's trying to get on Vengiok there, but it did not work. And ultimately, he's now down to P7. He's fighting with Tondis, though, over the position. Tondis going ghosted. But now, as you can see, the Red Bull clearly making the move back and defending his position of P6. But still, Tondis still sitting there. Tondis actually gets a good run on him. And there goes Tondis in the Mercedes up to P6 in this race. And now, George Plus is going to be looking back at Tesco and going, I might actually get overtaken by the McLaren here as well. So the day might not be as simple as it looks for the HDL driver. HDL, of course, chasing after the championship. They had a good race in China. So did XPG. Ultimately, HDL had the best day in China, and it is a safety car because somebody's retired out on track, and that's Happy Meal. Happy Meal retires out on track, and we've got a third safety car. But it is out. It is a crash. It is a crash. It is a crash out on track. But strategies are now going to come in. This is the point where strategies are going to come in. A lot of drivers coming into the pits. You can see the absolute load of drivers coming into the pits now. Double stacking at XPG. Could that work? Might that work? Maybe not. We'll have to see. But you can see the driver of Happy Meal retired from the session. He crashed and retired. That's why the safety cars come out. Nabali now leads. Zanik in second place. Zach third. Anton fourth. Tondis in fifth. XPG Flame ultimately finds himself down in P6 now. And not in a good position here. This is really not what they would have been thinking of as where they want to be. But we will once again, for the third time this race, for the third time tonight, we are sitting behind the safety car. ultimately, we're still waiting for everybody to catch up to the safety car. I think we're only going to have to get the last few drives to catch up. I don't think we're going to be safety car come in this lap, but it will be in next lap. Ultimately, I can confirm that was a crash. That was a crash out on track, an ultimate retirement out on track that caused the safety car, not just the front wing this time. So, yeah, it's the third safety car, but it has definitely changed up the order. Unofficial, not looking so good. Kieran Derry finding himself P10, Russell Bolt in 12th as well. So, it's against there. J7BP losing out quite heavily because, of course, also with this penalty. See Flame also losing out down to P6. A few drivers lose. Venjok also losing out down to P9 now. So he's lost a few positions at the same time. So not everybody is gaining. Not everybody is gaining or staying the same in these pit stops under the safety car. A lot has changed. Quite a few positions have changed ultimately, especially for Flame. It was looking. Oh, and Flame goes off. He hits into the barrier slightly. He comes out on track quite aggressively, almost hitting into George Plaster while he's at it. But ultimately, ooh, a little bit close there for Flame, almost hitting into the back of Tondis and almost hitting into George Plaster while coming back onto the track. Now we're waiting for the drivers to make their way round for the final time, hopefully tonight under the safety car. We did get a few laps. We did get a nice 6 laps without the safety car. Yet we then returned to the safety car just after 6 laps. We only made 2 laps without the safety car in the first place. So realistically, we have only had 8 laps of racing out of the 14. Which is a little bit disappointing. But we're going to get racing as we go onto lap 15. We should get racing as soon as we go onto lap 15 here. Safety car is now in this lap. Everybody getting ready to race. Everybody is ready. Nabali, by the way, is leading away from the grid. The man who was looking so good at the start of the race. Now back into that position that he wanted. And he's now leading the race ahead of Zanik, ahead of everybody. I'll just show you the tyres while we're here. That is the tyres. Many drivers on hard tyres, some on mediums. It's pretty much a mix of mediums and hards, mostly hard tyres. But here comes Nabali, heading round the penultimate corner. He's going to get away from the grid, 4/10 in the lead, and that is all he needs to ultimately lead down the pit straight. But here comes a very angry Zanik. He's coming at it with a lot of speed. Heading down into turn 1 he goes. Nabali makes Zanik take the outside line, which is going to turn into the inside line as he tries to make a switchback move, but it doesn't work. Nabali still having to try and protect his position at all costs. Heading down into now turn 3. Can Zanik get the turn in? No, he can't on those hard tyres. Those hard tyres not reacting as nicely as the mediums were for the Ferrari man. He's now under attack from Zach. At the same time, they're still battling. Up the hill they go, side by side into turn 7. They're still going side by side. Zanik just stays out in front for now, but it's allowed Nabali to escape a little bit more into a little bit further down the track. But ultimately, that is still not enough because those hard tyres are fast enough and they're keeping up with those worn mediums at the moment. Flame now dropping down to P7 behind George Plaster. So maybe Flame is struggling a little bit with his car. So there are some struggles there for the Ferrari man. The points are now starting to fall away from XPG at the moment. Yet they are still on for a very strong and big points performance still at the end of the day. Ton with ultimately P2, P5 and P7 as it stands, which is more points than they were looking at before. Now, once again, ultimately, Zach on the inside into turn 1. Zanik on the outside, still going side by side. They're going to go for it again early on this time on lap 16. Now, heading through turn 3. Look at that. Look at the Sauber. Anton for POR really wanting to get in on this podium fight. Safety car to safety car. Yeah, very much. But it says it, but we are racing. I know it says in the top left. It's just the game's broken. But ultimately, Anton for POR needs this big points finish. They need to start gaining on their championship rivals now, and they need to keep gaining over HDL in the championship at the moment. They are currently going to wipe the table they're currently looking at potentially wiping the table with HDR at HDL, sorry. They're going to wipe the table at the moment slightly. They're going to beat them on points. There goes Venjok making the move on Tesco for P8. That's a strong move he needed, and up to now 4 points to be scored by Venjok here tonight. Unofficial making his way round. Now you can see everybody. Oh, there's crashes all over the place. There's a driver that's gone off who spun round in Sector 3. No safety car, but Tesco and Philip Venera both into the pits. Venera with wing damage as well to add on to that. They're having to change his front wing. They're changing his front wing now. There it is. Changing the front wing. Tesco also down to P15. Only 2 retirements in this race, and that was Happy Meal and T-Bus. But Zanik once again now leads in this race. And it's a Ferrari leading, an XPG driver once again leading. Heartbreak last time around. They were on the podium, but they couldn't get that victory. But once again, it could be looking. They were looking for a victory last time around. They didn't get it, but they're on for a victory here tonight in the Netherlands. And that is exactly what XPG will be needing, and a big points haul they'll be needing on top of that, with Tondas 5th and XPG Flames 6th. A nice 16 points coming from those two as well. Near on the same amount of points as they were going to score earlier on. So still big points scored as it stands from XPG. But we're still having to wait and see who is going to gain the most, who's going to do the best. DRS, of course, now enabled. Nabali still holding on to that second place at the moment, I have to say. Pretty close, but down the inside goes Anton. He's gone down the inside. Nabali's moved out the way, or he's gone really deep. He's still trying to be there. He's down to P4 after just one corner. P2 to P4. Bad one there. Cutting the corner a bit as well through turn 3. He's also being gotted by the man of Tondas as well at the same time. Up to P4 goes Tondas. George Plaster and Flame fighting. Flame almost loses the car as well. So now we're waiting to see this battle continue. Flame and George Plaster both trying to get past Nabali now. But it's mostly Flame trying to get past the man of George Plaster and gain some positions that way. And down the inside goes Flame. He's made the move. It's been a bit of a mistake from George Plaster. And there goes the man of Flame. He's going to try and make the move. Still heading down towards the final sector. Can he make the move? He's made George Plaster go deep. Can he get the turn in? But it's George Plaster who ultimately puts the car beautifully. That's all I can say. Beautifully. Through the round hairpin, but once again now heading down to the pit straight, and through the final corner they go. Now with DRS open, using ERS, here comes Flame. He makes the move on George Plaster for P6, and that's a big move for XPG here tonight. We can also see 2 TIR cars in the pits, P9 and P10. Good double points on for just 3 points here tonight. So it's not looking like the most dominant of finishes, and at the moment their worst points finish of the entire season. Which is going to, at the moment, they won't lose the Constructors' Championship because AERO are not racing here tonight. Ultimately, Tesco now up to P13. He's made 1 position up in this race. Philip Venera just putting in the fast lap of 11.830. These drivers definitely are not getting anywhere close to that. Still, the racing going on. Still, everything still to happen. 3 drivers currently, the top 3 all fighting over this victory. It's very much been the same throughout all of today. A Ferrari, a Sauber, an Alpine all fighting it out over this victory. But Tondas is also sitting in there. He's just within DRS. So don't count out the other XPG driver of Tondas and Flame, who are all incredibly close at the moment to each other. So do not count any of them out at the moment. Down into turn 1 goes Zanik. He's gone a bit deep. He's gone very deep. There's a yellow flag, and that is, I think, that is another one. And what is going on? What is going on with the safety car? Holy! Why is there 50 safety cars? There's like 50 safety cars tonight. Holy! What is wrong with this game? This is not realistic. We made it another 6 laps. How are we only making 6 laps at a time without a safety car? I do not know. I do not know how we're only making 6 laps at a time. How is it? How does this work? How does this whole game work? That's my question. How does this game work at all? Because, yeah, I'm so lost by this game. I'm so incredibly lost. I'm so lost. Why is there so many safety cars? I'm generally getting a bit sick of this safety car thing now. Last week, safety car settings, standard. They were on standard last week, by the way. So no change. There's been no changes to the settings. Everybody's coming into the pits. Zanique! 10-second time penalty for speeding in the pit lane! I think Zanique has just dropped his race win! XPG once again dropping a race victory on penalties! No words at all, by the way, for the amount of goddamn safety cars we've had this week. I'm never going to want to look at a safety car again at this rate. I don't know why we have so many safety cars. This is the same settings as we had last week. The same. And we've had 4 safety cars. 4 safety cars. 4 safety cars. 4 safety cars in 21 laps. That's not even one point. I don't even get this game anymore, man. It's the same, like I said, it's the same settings as last week. You can see Zanique coming into the pits once again. I think he's going to be serving his 10-second time penalty. Again, it's the same settings as last week. How we didn't get a single safety car last week, I don't know. But there's still quite a few drivers to catch up now. Honestly, I have no words for this game at all. I'm just... Holy. Yeah, 1, 2, 3 at the moment for POR, by the way. I've just noticed that. 1, 2, 3 for POR. Massive points. By the way, based off of these points at the moment, you guys will take the lead of the constructors. Because you'll score 58 points. You're going to score 58 points. Holy. 58 points. Which is the most I think any team has scored in a single race, I think it is. I think that's the most any team has scored. I have to double check that. But I think that will be the most points scored by anybody in a single race. Maybe. I think there might be one other. Maybe it was AERO in round 1. I think they scored, or TIR, who scored the most. We are going for another lap under the safety cars. We march onto lap 23. 13 laps this race is remaining. We made it 5 laps. Oh, sorry, we made it 6 laps again. We made it 7 whole laps. 7 whole laps. Without a single incident. Without another safety car. But ultimately, that means we've gone 2 laps. 4, we've gone like, 3, 9, wow, we've gone 16 laps without safety cars. Just 16 in this entire race, 16 laps, and 23, shocking. We've gone 7 laps with safety cars now, this is just, oh my god. This is why sometimes this game is enjoyably annoying. Not really enjoyably, but just annoying. can get quite unenjoyable, and I do feel bad for the drivers as well. I generally do feel bad for the drivers because this is just how the game's built, and it's just so stupid. Tyre-wise, we've got George Plaster, Rusted Bolt, Tesco, and Kieran Derry all on the soft compounded tyres. Safety car in this lap. We've got just 2 drivers on the hards, and that's Vengiok and Nabali, and the rest are all on medium tyres. Woo. Getting going once again. Vengiok this time leading. 1, 2, 3 currently looking at for POR. Looking at a big points haul for them. 58 points are on the table. Maybe if they can get fast lap, maybe a 59th point could be on the table. But most likely 58 points tonight. So POR could be looking at a championship lead out of round 4. We'll have to see. Heading round. Here they go. Vengiok starting. And he gets away. He gets away very nicely away from his 2 teammates. That's very good at the moment. Now heading down into turn 1 he goes. And he leads. Vengiok leads on lap 24. Got some racing further back. Vengiok loses the lead. He lets Anton into the lead now. And there goes Anton up into the lead. And there he goes off into the lead now. As he starts to sprint away from his teammates. He now as you can see, Vengiok lets Zach by as well. And I think Vengiok's going to try and hold up the rest of the grid. I think he's really going to try and hold up the rest of the grid. And cause real problems for that. We can now see George Plaster making his way past on Tondis, but Tondis is lagging quite a... I'm not sure what's happening with Tondis. Please, Tondis, fix your internet, please. But you can see Vengiok being a perfect driver to stop the others from getting by. Already 1.5 second gap. He's doing a Sergio Perez in Abu Dhabi in 2021. He's really holding up the rest of the grid. 1.7 seconds is the gap. That's now becoming 1.8. He's really going slowly. He's really holding them up. And this is crazy levels of teamwork going on here. Absolute crazy levels of teamwork. And here they go. Down towards turn 1 they go. Who's going to lead? And who's going to stay out here? 3 wide! Oh my! Oh my! Oh my! 3 wide. And it does not work in turn 1. It does not work at all in turn 1. Because see, Flame and Tondis now fighting P3 and P4. So at least it's looking like a 1-2 for POR. So still 43 points on the table for them. And still XPG could be walking away with a very solid 27 points as it stands. So they'll still be walking away with a solid 27 points in this race. And a very solid big points haul to walk away with. Ultimately, still 27 points in their bag. Still 27 points closer to teams like TIR. Well, mostly 27 points closer to AERO, a big points haul there. Tesco now making his way past Rusted Bolt for his position now. Rusted Bolt getting overtaken by midfield Maestro as well. At the same time, now here comes Unofficial around the outside. He's making it official. He's making this move official. He's getting pushed from either side by the TIR drivers. Got some side-by-side action now. Into the penultimate corner they go. And ultimately, no crashes, no incidents yet for now. And now, Zanik, he's left. He's disconnected from the session. That is their big points chance gone. George Plaster has wing damage. He has wing damage. That's now going to see him moving down the order. Unofficial. Also having a problem into turn 1. He's getting squeezed by Harv at the same time. This day is falling apart for HDL. What they thought would be an easy one, turning out to be a horrible day for them. At the moment, the front 2 for both POR of Anton and Zach, both currently leading, with Flame and Tondis in 3rd and 4th, with just 10 laps remaining of this race to go. Let's see if we can make it to the final 10 laps without any safety cars. As we've had a total of 8 laps under the safety car, by the way. Yes, we've had a whopping 8 laps this race under the safety car. So we've had many, many laps. Out of the 26 to 18 of the laps have we been racing for, and that is all we've been racing for so far this race. Tesco making the move on Vengiok. Philip Venera getting a 3-second time penalty for multiple warnings. You can see a definite splits taking place now. J7BP from nowhere, from nothing to something. That's really all you can talk about for J7BP, because he's really turned this into a possible P4 chance. Currently on his way for a top 5 finish. TIR getting some points and gaining even further ahead of AERO in the constructors at the moment. Rusted Bolt makes his way into P9. That's a good position gain. You can see midfield Maestro fighting with Vengiok. Ooh, a bit of a slide on the wheel of Maestro's car. He's really trying to fight for P7 here. He's really trying to get those 16 points for TIR here tonight. And along with also Rusted Bolt, who's trying to also gain 1 place and get ahead of Vengiok at the same time. So everything is still on the line. Everything is still to go with 9 laps remaining in this race. So now, as we look to the gaps, you can see the gap massive now. Near on 3 seconds is the gap between second and third. You can just see, nowhere to be seen is XPG Flame, except for back here. You can just see, he can't even see the cars going around the final 2 corners, which is a horrible thing to realise. Through the final 2 corners, you can't even see your position. They're already halfway down the road by the time you do reach the pit straight. So for Flame, chances of a win are kind of out of the bag. But for J7BP, chances of big points is still on his way. You can see the lagging from Tondis is getting me a little bit worried here. There's quite a bit of lagging coming from the XPG driver of Tondis at the moment. Now, as we make our way through this middle sector, you can see J7BP's tried so much. He just is sitting on that edge where he just can't seem to close up enough to actually make the move and get the move done. But has Tondis just made a small mistake? I think he has. I think he just made a small mistake into the round hairpin. Now into the penultimate corner. And again, Tondis seems to have made a small mistake. Heading down the pit straight they go. There's a change for the lead, but it's going to be a change for P4 now. And there goes J7BP into the lead. And here he goes into P4. And that is exactly what he wanted. On for 12 points now in this race. And that lagging is really getting me worried now. Especially when it comes down to side-by-side racing. It's definitely going to become something quite difficult to see in the future, especially for a driver like J7BP, who's driven such an amazing race so far. He's driven me pushed so hard. He's just put in a personal best for the first sector, so he's definitely finding time in his lap. He's definitely saying, I've got even more time left in the lap. So don't get me wrong, there's still a lot that can happen. There's still a lot that can go wrong in just the next 7 laps of this race. Well, 6.5 now. In the next 6.5 laps of the race, a lot can go wrong, but a lot can go right at the same time. But he's now got Tondis and Tesco both hunting him down for the position of P4 and for those massive 12 points in this championship. Of course, for TIR, this is a massive chance for them. As Kieran Derry's gone off. Kieran Derry's off. We got a few cars off. We can't have another safety car. We have 4 safety cars, by the way, today. So the limit is 4 safety cars in a race, and we've done it. So we now go into lap 30. Here comes Tondis down the inside as he kind of lags and goes all over the place. Completely lost on what's happening there with him. Philip Venera ultimately retires. There's not going to be safety car because of that. Because of the limit of 4 safety cars a race. Thank God. But ultimately, that means the safety car is now... That means we've had 2 more retirements. 4 retirements now in this race with only 14 drivers left. George Plaster's just made the move for P9, by the way. He's up now ahead of Vengiok. And up into P9 and on for 2 points for HDL now. So a nice 2 points coming their way. Still J7BP. I don't think he's got a chance of hunting a podium here tonight because he is 4.6 seconds away from the podium positions. You can see, you can't even see Flame out on the track, by the way. That's how far behind he really is. You can't even see him out on track. That is bad. And now here comes Tesco around the outside of Tondis. He goes. He makes the move. Oh, Tondis is off. Tondis with lag goes off into the wall. Zach now retakes the lead of the race on lap 31 as they just come on to lap 31. And ultimately Tesco now finds himself P4, P5 and hunting P4 in this race as he's hunting down J7BP for those all-important points for HDL but also for TIR. Nabali gets a 3-second time penalty for multiple warnings. Only 2 drivers in this race have penalties in this race, and that is Nabali and Harv. 2 SCT drivers, the penalties of 3 seconds and 3 seconds for both of them, actually. Quite interesting to see. I swear to God, Harv has more than that, but he obviously doesn't. Of course, the game obviously shows that he doesn't. There's a driver that's gone off. That's Rusted Bolt who's gone off. He's gone a bit wide. That's allowed George Plaster back up into P8. Maybe HDL's championship chances are coming back into chance. Maybe they want to start chasing after AERO. Maybe there's a chance to catch them because George Plaster's on those soft tyres and he is gaining and gaining and gaining. 2 drivers are out. Nabali and Zanik are both out. We're down to 12 drivers. 6 drivers out now in this race. A third of the grid has retired, by the way, and 4 of them retired in the last 3 laps of this race. J7BP fighting with Tesco through turn 1. Have they made the move? No, J7BP holding on to his position for now, and that's keeping P4 safe as long as he can, and hopefully up until the end of the race. Those medium tyres really making that RB go all the way it can, because at the moment it is struggling. There's only a few laps of this race, 5 full laps of this race to go. Ooh, the laps are coming down, and they're coming down rather quickly in this race now. Laps ticking by, and of course J7BP is hoping for that checkered flag very, very soon. He's hoping it comes very quickly. At the moment, it is still feeling like a mile away because he wants to confirm that P4 and confirm those 12 points coming his way. And there goes Tesco into P4. Tesco makes his way past. He goes a bit deep, but it's fine because he's on those soft tyres, and those soft tyres seem to be quite a bit faster. But now you can see George Plaster is now starting to catch up to the back of this. As Zach once again retakes the lead from his teammate at POR, although it is Alpine versus Sauber. Tesco fighting with the man of J7BP again, still side by side. And again, they're still going at this, battling into turn 3 they go. You can see Tesco down the inside, maybe a small bit of contact there. Tesco leaving the right amount of space, but ultimately J7BP gets the exit, exactly what he needed. And there's a slow Ferrari. That is Flame! That is Flame! Flame went off! Flame made a mistake, and that's allowed J7BP's podium hopes to come back into this. I did not even realise. I thought it was Zanik who was retiring. No, it isn't. It is the man of Flame. He's made a mistake. XPG's day has gone from bad to worse. It was brilliant at the start, but it's fallen apart since. And now it could get even worse because he's under attack from two very fast drivers behind who are really showing the pace at the moment. But the front two have a very nice 11-second gap between them and the rest of the grid. But the man of Flame is now under attack as George Plaster tried to make the move past Tondis, but again the lagging is kind of being a bit odd in this moment. But here comes J7BP, down the inside, he goes on Flame, he's going to make the move. Flame still trying to go around the outside. You can see the man of Tesco trying to push him round the corner. Still going at it. J7BP and Flame still fighting. Oh, J7BP almost loses his car. Is he going to lose 2 places? No, he isn't. He's ghosting, but he's come out in front ultimately in the end. He's still ghosting. He's still ghosting. He's still ghosting. He's still ghosting even now as they reach turn 7. Now he stopped ghosting with just 3 laps to go. The racing is still all on for the podium, and the battle between teammates of Anton and Zach. Who wants to come out on top there? Who wants to take the victory in the Netherlands? George Plaster just, oh my god. This battle for P3 is massive. It's all the way down to P8 now. Everybody from P3 to P8 could get this position as Vengiok just gone off track. He's had a yellow flag. The laps are now counting down. The laps are coming towards the end of the race. As the leaders go on to lap 35, we're still going to have to wait about near on 13 seconds before the rest go on to lap 35. But J7BP with the DRS, Rusted Bowl has the 3-second time penalty for multiple warnings. But now heading down the pit straight he comes. He's choosing the outside line. He's going to send it round the outside. Goes J7BP. Can he make the move? No, he can't. He hasn't been able to make the move. And that's ultimately going to leave him in the position of P4. And he's not fully into that P3 position and onto the podium for TIR, which would be a lucky comeback day for them. And still another podium, a 100% podium success rate for TIR this season. One of the only in the league. And here comes J7BP! Through turn 7! He goes. He's still battling. Turn 8, he loses out though. Now into turn 9 they go. Can he try and send another dive bomb? He's trying to make that move work early. He knows he's faster than Flame. He knows he's got the slipstream. He knows he's got the DRS. He feels faster. Here he comes, heading down the next straight. Tesco! Tesco out of nowhere! He makes a move into P3, goes to McLaren, goes to HDL driver, and that's exactly what he needed as the leaders go on to the final lap as they battle over the front 2 positions. But we're going to be waiting a long 15 seconds before we see this battle for P3 cross the line for the final lap. Here comes Flame again. Here comes J7BP. He's heading around the outside. Still, Tesco sending it down the inside. He's still there. George Plaster trying to make the move as well at the same time. He's trying to make that move. Oh, Tesco getting a little bit wiggly. Few cars getting a little bit wiggly. George Plaster trying to make the move on J7BP. Flame finding himself back up into P3. Now down to P4. Tesco still holds on to that position. That's all he needs at the moment. Now heading up towards the end of Sector 1. That's a third of the lap gone already. And they're still fighting side by side. George Plaster and J7BP. They're still going for it. Now heading down towards the next corner of turn 8. Ultimately, George Plaster goes wide. He's gone off. He's down to P8. That's losing in positions heavily. And now he's only going to be scoring 4 points as it stands. He needs to try and make the move on midfield Maestro. Yes, he is. He's dive bombing it down the inside. Can he make the move forward? No, he can't. He's not got enough speed on the inside line. That's always the weak part of the track. Here comes Flame trying to go down the inside. It's not going to work. But we've got to turn to the lead as Zach wins. And Anton finishes second within a tenth of each other. It's a POR 1-2 for them. Then, who's going to come out in P3? Is it going to be Flame? Is it going to be Tesco? It's a two-way battle. It's a two-layered race now heading down to the line. Oh! Flame gets it at the line! Flame, P3, 73 thousandths in front of Tesco in P4. J7BP finishes 5th. Holy, there's only one driver left to cross the line. That's Vengiok. He's going to be crossing the line next. Holy! That race to the line is next level. Holy. Holy, holy, holy. So finally, Vengiok crosses the line. But battle for the lead at the line, battle for the win, a battle for P3. Interesting end to it. 4 safety cars. Holy, I will never forget that. Ultimately, this is the grid. Zach wins this race with a POR 1-2 with Anton in second. Flame just gets P3 by the skin of his teeth. And fastest lap, so 16 points for him. Tesco is P4. J7BP 5th. Tondas in 6th. Midfield Maestro finishes 7th. George Plaster dropping down the last moment to 8th. Unofficial is 9th. With the last position of points going to Rusted Bolt. Harv goes in P11 with Venjok being the last race finishes. Zanik in 13th. Ultimately, the retirees are Zanik, Nabali, Venera, Kieran Derry, Happy Meal, and T-Bus, who all ultimately finished this race. Whoa! That is one end to the race. But I have to say, my driver of the day, J7BP. It's got to be J7BP. He is my driver of the day. All the way. But ultimately, it is that time of the day, and it is that time of the stream to say goodbye to everybody here tonight. Thank you so much for watching. But before I go, let me just show you a quick look at the calendar. Next week, we will be going to the track of Monza. Yes, we go to Monza next week. A big race to start off at month of August racing of Monza, Spain, Saudi Arabia, and ultimately the track of... So ultimately we go to Monza, Spain, and Saudi Arabia in August. The 3 circuits we will go to, and then in September we'll end off the season with Great Britain, Brazil, and Austria for the finale and round 10 of the season. Ultimately, thank you so much for watching. I hope everybody's had an absolute great day. Please think about subscribing and leaving a like. It means so much to everybody here at FRLT who worked so hard for this. Kotz was not able to join me here tonight, but that is fine. Ultimately, also click on the notification bell to know about more content. Also, the links, there's a few links below. I'll just tell you what they are. We have a link to our Discord server down below. Also, our link to our Twitter account. Please make sure to go and follow us on there for all of the tweets. Also, I believe our Instagram account is below there. If it isn't, let me know. Maybe next stream. Also, there's a link below for Rogue Energy. I want to say thank you to Rogue Energy for sponsoring us for this season. Ultimately, go and see their products. They do like shakes and like powders and stuff. It's not my area. Please don't question me on that. Ultimately, there's a link to their website down below, and if you use code FRLTF1, you will get 10% off. Make sure to use that. Make sure to put that in when you're going to go and buy some stuff. They also do some free stuff as well, but you have to buy something with it. Ultimately, thank you so much for watching. I hope everybody has a great week. We will see you again on Tuesday for Tier 1 and on Wednesday for Tier 2, and then once again next week for Monza in Fords. Thank you so much, and I'll see you very soon. Bye. Sundays, but here we are. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 red lights.